of one thing you
Yeah.
mentioned too was you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
What's your nutrition? Are you like nuts with macros, or like what's your?
I try to find a really healthy, balanced diet. I do have some kind of GI stuff. I found out recently that I have an intolerance to sorbitol, and it's a sugar alcohol, and it's in
Mhm.
everything.
Oh, I know all
And
about it.
naturally it's in like raspberries and blackberries and watermelon and strawberries and honey. And so I was eating a lot of those things, and I always thought that I was eating healthy, which, in certain respects I was, but it just wasn't healthy for me. So and I found more of what we call like a low FODMAP diet. My body has a hard time with digestion and digesting certain foods. So I'm really probably I eat very plain and simply, honestly. But I try to eat a balanced diet. I don't count my calories. I used to. I did have an eating disorder for many years, and I used to hate myself, and I used to throw up, and part of it was, and that was a really difficult time in my life, and it came from wanting to, fit in this. It came from this idea of like I needed to fit in, or I needed to have a certain body or look a certain way, and then you start to do those things. But now I eat to fuel my body, and I try to educate my clients, and women in particular, because like men have it too, but a lot of my female clients, people get into endurance events because they want to lose weight or they want to get skinny or whatever. And it's like, if you want to do endurance events, you need to eat carbohydrates. Carbs are your friends. Like, you need that. That's an important, part of it. So it's like, you can't like run marathons and ultras and try to be really skinny, because a lot of times they don't want to fuel their workouts, and that's when injuries happen. And that's when we start to break down and we start to hit the wall or bonk from our workouts, and we struggle. So educating people. So what do I eat? We think of it as terms of like, if you think like, have you ever heard the idea of athlete plates? Are
Yeah,
you familiar with this at
a
all?
little bit. Not. You're like the second or third person that's mentioned this to me, but I don't. I've never done any research.
So what I like about this concept of athlete plates, and it came out USA Triathlon, working with the Olympic Committee, and they came up with this idea of athlete plates. So rather than get like bogged down about calories and macros and things like that, for people who it can be very triggering.
Mhm.
When I used to count calories, I did that as like control aspect. I always thought that I had to maintain a certain calorie. I had to be under, 1,000 calories or 1,200 calories or
Yeah.
900 calories at times that I was restricting myself to. It was really unhealthy. So now if you think about it in terms of like food, so if you have a plate of food, the protein always stays the same. It's about a quarter of the plate. And then your
Right.
vegetable and carb ratio will change depending on kind of, your fitness or your workouts for the week. So
Sure.
if you're in a really big building, we usually build for 3 weeks and like we'll deload for a week. So like your 3 week build, you're going to eat more carbs than protein. I mean, excuse me, than vegetables. So a plate might be the quarter protein stays the same. It might be a quarter vegetables, and then half the plate is going to be carbohydrates. And then if you're deloading or you're off season, it might be, quarter carbs and more vegetables or things like
Sure.
that. And then when it's like real, so it kind of just kind of varies and goes up and down. So I kind of follow that, and I try to teach my clients about that, because in order to perform, in order to do well, you need overall nutrition. You also need your like race nutrition or your training nutrition too.
Mhm.
Because what I started noticing is that a lot of my clients were eating during their workouts, but then they were starting to count it towards their overall calorie goals. And I'm like, that doesn't work that way. You can't do
Right.
that. Like you're eating and drinking to fuel that workout, to top up your glycogen so you can continue, but then you need to continue to replenish your body all day long so that you can fuel the next day and the next workout. So I think people lose sight of that a little bit or don't understand that. And we get so bogged down about this idea of like weight, and being skinny.
Yeah. I
So yeah.
wish that most people. All right. So I'll speak very frankly as a
But
guy.
yeah.
Nobody likes skinny bitches. Just seriously. Like, I wish
Oh,
women would
junk in the trunk.
understand
Sorry.
I
that.
can't with this guy. I can't
I
with this
wish
guy.
women would understand that,
That was
because
not on the list of questions,
you
by the
should
way.
have.
That was not a
It's
list
not
of
on the
questions,
list of
approved
questions.
questions. All the work he did. I don't
Yeah.
like skinny bitches wasn't number 7, by the way, just for the record.
It's
I
on the
apologize.
backstage.
I apologize. I need a sign that says we apologize, is what I need to put
Yeah.
up there.
But true though, and I wish that people would understand that. Like, and I wish that women or
Yeah.
guys even or
Yeah.
whatever, like be you. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? And
But you have social media and you look at what's
I
portrayed and
agree.
on, and it's just crazy. Like it's a blessing and a curse, and everybody puts their best selves or puts it up there, and then people see this and it's
Mhm.
constantly in your face about
It's
this
all
body
fake.
type. I mean, it's better now. It's gotten better now because the whole like, body positive movement. So I think it's a lot, it's better in some regards, where I think we're kind
Sure.
of getting away from that. But Be,
See, I'm
you know,
50-50 with the body positive movement
Yeah.
because I think that you should be you, but I also
Right.
think that if you is unhealthy, like if you're morbidly obese or whatever it is,
Right, for
then you
sure.
need to make some changes. Or if you're like super skinny, like you need to make some changes. Like I follow guys, like I follow David Goggins, right? I
Yeah,
follow
me
Cameron
too.
Hayes. I'm
Yeah.
I'm not going to be those guys. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like
right,
no matter how hard I try, I'm never going to be those guys. But
right.
it's someone to look up to. Like I look at
Oh,
Cameron
for
Hayes.
sure.
He's I think he's my age, and he runs every day. I forget what he works out every day, whatever like that. But then he runs in the morning. He runs. I think he runs a marathon a day. Like
Holy
he
moly.
runs during his lunch. He does like all of this. I'm never going to do that. Like that's just I'm not built that way. I'm not going to do
Right.
that. But it's someone to admire to say, "Wow, look at this guy," or Goggins with his craziness. You know, stay
Yeah,
hard. You know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
it just
He's
makes
intense.
you. Yeah, it's intense, and it makes. But you don't need to be that way. But you do need
No,
to be healthy. With regard to carbs, I was exhausted during my workout, so I started drinking this thing called Vitagrow, and it's
yeah,
a carb drink.
yeah,
And it's kind of like drinking potato starch, right? Doesn't
yeah,
really taste like anything, but you put it in the water, you shake it up, and you drink it. You could drink it before, after, during, whatever. I start drinking it on my way to the gym, and then I
yeah,
drink it while I work out. And that has made a huge difference
yeah.
in my not feeling exhausted when I'm working out. Now, do you do weight workout too? Like you work out with weights or
Mostly in the off season, I do weights. Otherwise, in season, I'll do like, some light bands and resistance stuff. But off season, I'll do more weights. I started to go back to CrossFit again. I used to coach CrossFit, and I just needed a mental break from some of the triathlon training that I've been doing a lot of. So, I started doing that. So I'll, you know, it'll vary different points of the year. I'll do more weights than other times because once you start getting into like the really bulk and mileage, you have to kind of back off a little bit from the weight. I don't want to be fatigued from that, so I can be able to have
right?
better runs. So it's a balance, but definitely do some sort of kind of strength training in there, more, runner specific. So working a lot on like glute stuff, or whether it's glute bridges, one-legged bridges, calf raises, one-legged deadlifts with just light dumbbells or things like that,
Sure.
which we actually do a lot of in yoga anyway.
Yeah.
So I practice yoga a lot and I teach a lot. So that's been, really beneficial. And I think, I try to, with all my clients now, I try to get them to do yoga at least twice a week. They don't have to come to my studio, but there's, online or whatever.
Yeah, yoga app, whatever.
Yeah, it's really important. It does a difference. And people are always like, how can you do such crazy things? Or how can you do so much? And it's like yoga. Yoga is probably one of the, best things. And I take my recovery very seriously. So I'm always stretching and rolling and massage and rebooting and you name it. So I have all the tools and gadgets too. If you want your body to perform and do well for you, you also have to take care of it and you got to fuel it. So I think it's great that you're drinking that stuff during the workouts and you found things that work for you, because a lot of that's trial and error too. And people are like, well, if something doesn't work, I don't want to try something else. But it's important, and you should try something until you find what works and what makes you feel good.
Well, when I was going to Breeze Fitness. They went out of business, and now I find myself at Robert Wood. And my daughter used to work at Breeze, and I didn't want to, they used to open at 6, and she was opening the gym. And I'm like, I don't want you to go by yourself. So that forced me to go to the gym on Saturdays and Sundays at whatever it was, 5:30, whatever.
Yeah.
And that was when
Funny.
no problem. That was when all of the people who I would say were more serious lifters came
Yeah.
in. I started just kind of like talking with guys, and just saying, one guy, I was like, what do you drink when you work out? And he's like, well, I drink this Vitagrow stuff, and you can buy it at the GNC or whatever it is. And he goes, it really made a difference. And I started, it's like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And I started doing it. And I drink a protein shake, and I eat like the same shit. So I'll have like oatmeal and eggs in the morning and a protein shake. And I'm very like, I got to eat a certain amount of calories. I have a high metabolism. So I kind of like focus on things that I like to eat. I eat early in the morning. I eat breakfast twice because I'll work out. And then for my first workout. Yeah. So I'll eat something, I'll work out, and I'll eat again. And then that morning workout, I do like a meditation thing too, which is mentally like the fucking best thing you can do. And then I eat again at 10. I eat again at like 1. I eat smaller meals because I own a construction company, and sometimes there's just like, there's know where to heat something up or know where to do
Yeah.
whatever. So I kind of make it so that way I don't go to Wawa and eat that crap, but I'll have like something small at 10, something small at 1, something small at 3. Then I come home and I'm doing that. I'm preparing to go to the gym.